First of all, everyone you'd hope and expect to be fit for Friday? Fit?
The only ones that isn't is Alex Cuthbert. He's got a slight niggle, which will keep it. If it was a Sunday game, we might have made it, but he won't make the weekend.
That'll be frustrating because, as we all know, it's a rather significant game for you, Toby.
Yeah, 100%. And you get down to the final knock-ins and you've got something to play for, which is great, and you want your best players on the pitch. But for the majority of the season, we've been far from full strength. You've seen what we're capable of when we have been in the last few weeks, and that's great. Frustrating in a way when you reflect on what could have been, but ultimately we've still got something to play for, and that's really important.
You know what you have to do. You mentioned after the last game the frustrations of the disjointed kick-off time, should we say that? Does it change your approach at all?
No, not for us. And it probably wasn't frustrating, it's more disappointment really. I just don't, and I stand by what I said. It still doesn't make sense to me. I understand the travel for the South African teams, and it's not really about reacting to what the situation presented itself, and maybe going forward, and there's always something we have to do. So it'll be World Cup next year, for example. There's always constraints that people have to have, but the big picture for me is the integrity of the competition, or whatever that competition looks like in whatever facet. And if the shields are important, then that's part of it. So, yeah, it is what it is. We'll just get on with it.
It won't be easy. You're up against a side with plenty to play for themselves. You all have to go for tries. Are we going to expect something exciting or nervous?
Probably a bit of both, I would have thought. I've just had a conversation with Jake White, who I know from my previous life, and they're training just across the road here, so he asked me to go and have a chat. So, yeah, we had a little laugh about that, and that's what's great about rugby, that, irrespective of what's on offer, you've still got good rugby people at the centre of it. So, we talked about that, and I know that, as he would expect, he won't show his hand and I won't show mine, but there's a natural respect at that level, which means that the teams will be respectful, but no doubt will need to impose themselves on each other come Friday night.
You won't show your hand, Jake won't show his hand. The Wales coach has showed his hand today. He's picked his squad for the summer tour. Plenty of representatives from your side, including 3 that have worked really hard to come back from injury in Dan Lydiate, Alan Jones and George North. Yeah,
I mean, obviously we're providing it's a World Cup numbered tour party, I think 33, and we're providing a third of it. So, we're getting something right for sure, and that's great for all of those boys concerned, and all that are making it. And yeah, similarly frustrating for some people that have missed out as well, and it's probably a good thing or a good representation of what we're trying to do. And unfortunately, some players miss out, and they'll be energised, I'm sure, on Friday to show what that people potentially are missing out on.
In terms of someone like Georgia and Dan, are you surprised they've been included given the early stages of their recovery from injury?
Well, without doubt, historical things play a part, and they're not playing for a period of time, so I'm sure that Wayne and his staff believe they can get them to the required level, for the first test. So look, that's what they can control. All I can do is do our bit. They're fit and well and playing for us, and have produced decent performances in various aspects, bit parts or indefinite aspects of their game. And as you say, to get them on the field for everybody is a bonus, considering the long injury, prolonged injuries that they've had. So look, for those 2, as you mentioned, it's significant, and I'm sure they'll grab their opportunities with both hands.
You're not going to be selfish and say you'd rather have their feet up over the summer ready for the new campaign?
I can't control that environment. I just have to understand it. Part of me goes, it's a compliment, that fact that we are producing or reinstalling players into the Welsh squad, and that reflects well on the group and how we're playing in the programme.
Plenty in there, as you say, from the Ospreys. One that perhaps caught the eye missing out is Jack Morgan. Wayne Pivac suggesting he wants him to get bigger and stronger. What do you make of that?
Prove his physicality over the ball, I think was the quote.
Is it? Oh, well, I mean, obviously, you know, I've had conversations with Wayne around his decisions, and obviously, I obviously have had the conversation around Jack. All I can talk about is the performance that Jack has produced for us, and he's been one of our standout players, probably along with Reece Webb, to be fair. There have been two of our standout players all year. In relation to what he does from a performance point of view, he's in the top 3 for tackles completed, he's in the top 3 for dominant tackles, and he's in the top 3 for breakdown steals. So, look, Wayne knows what he wants to do in South Africa and what sort of game he plays. All I can comment on is I know Jack will use it as fuel to get better, fuel to improve. He can't control, you know, that aspect. All he can do is what he does next. But from a performance point of view in URC, he's been, as I said, he's been one of our standout players.
You mentioned that people will use it as fuel. Have you had to have a word with Jack or anyone else who might have felt they had a chance?
Of course, 100%, because, you know, we all want the same thing in relation to people playing at their best and putting their hand up. You know, we want to produce players for Wales. We want our players to reflect, you know, the team, us as a region, and also contribute, you know, to the good things in Welsh rugby. So when people miss out, they are very emotional about it and frustrated. They want clarity on what that actually means, and that's where, you know, your head coach in particular becomes, you know, a massive support to them and help to nurture their frustrations and disappointments into the right ways, as, you know, we've done with Adam Beard. Everyone talks about how well Adam Beard has come. 12 months ago last November, he was left out, and, you know, as we did with him, with Gareth Anscombe, you know, our job is also to repair them, you know, and get them motivated to be the best versions of themselves and get themselves back in there. And, you know, we talk about people missing out, but as much as the success stories of the people that we've got back in. So I think that, yeah, part of, unfortunately, a professional rugby player, especially one who's as young and as exciting as Jack, is that there's going to be disappointments along the way, and this is a resilience test. And once the you know, the wounds heal over a little bit, he'll be putting his hand up to, as he will on Friday, to get himself noticed and back as far up that international ladder as he can.
Yeah, it all starts again on Friday. Finally, from me, Toby, what would it mean to the region not only to claim the bragging rights as the Welsh champions, the Welsh Shield winners, but that all-important Champions Cup, please? Yeah,
again, as you said, there's something tangible on the end of it. I think, you know, we've got a fair amount of mitigation from a COVID and an injury point of view and who's been injured this year, but, you know, we've still got an opportunity, and I think that, you know, on a selfish point of view, and I'm not being disrespectful to the Scarlets or any other Welsh region, is it's something tangible that makes sense for the effort they've put in throughout the year. So my real sentiment is for the players themselves, the effort of all the staff here. Bearing in mind we're new into this, you know, I'm only in my second season, understanding each other, and we're refining that. It's a good reflection for that. And also we've been without fans for a long time. To have something to celebrate for your supporters and your region, and the way that we do it would be great.
Very best of luck, Toby. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Toby, Jack Morgan has achieved 22 turnovers in the URC this season. No one has achieved more. So are you surprised at Wayne's comments that he needs to improve his physicality and basically get stronger over the ball?
Am I surprised by it? Yeah, I suppose I am, really. I can't control, you know, Jack, it's Wayne's decision. You know, Wayne has his reasons, and those questions for the reasons why really are levelled towards him. As I said, all I can do is support our player when he gets dropped and left out, and help put him back on track to where he goes. But as you say, from a performance point of view, you know, against the Stormers, for example, South African opposition, he had 4 steals against them when we played them, you know, in our game in South Africa about 6 weeks ago or whatever it was. So, look, Wayne's made his decision. All Jack can control now is what he does next, and what he does next is next Friday.
Do you feel he's got the character to sort of battle his way back?
No doubt of it. No doubt at all. He's a very committed, passionate man who is young in his age, but his outlook is very mature, and he's surrounded by a lot of people that have been in the same situation, both coaching and players. So, yeah, we've spoken about it as we've done with other players I've already mentioned, and our job is to produce winning performances and performances that show the team and Jack in their best light, which forces the issue.
I guess Wales are really looking for physicality, and in that respect, you know, Dan Lydiate would be the right man for this particular assignment, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. Again, I mean, we know Dan Lydiate's a really good player. You know, he's playing exceptionally well, you know, up until these last Welsh call-up, and obviously he's had a long road back, and you know, we're sort of like we do with everyone who's been out for such a long period of time, is drip feed them back in to give them a chance to thrive and not just go through the treadmill again. So yeah, Dan Lydiate's a quality player, and you know, he's fit and improving week on week.
So what are you expecting from the Bulls? Is there a right way to play them? I mean, they're a side, they've got such power up front, but they've also got pace behind as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, very resemblant of a lot of South African teams, exactly that. Very physical, very strong up front, very collision based, field position based, so good kicking game. And if you let their back three have it on their terms, you know, in broken field, they're going to hurt you. We saw that at the Stormers from personal experience. So we're expecting something that's like that. The good thing for us is we're at home with a crowd, and we haven't had to travel, and it's things on our terms in that respect. But it's going to be a massive arm wrestle and a massive challenge, but one we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, last question really. Harry Deves has signed a new contract this week. How excited are you about him? He's only 20 years of age.
Yeah, very excited. Obviously, he's had a couple of really good performances, and he's shown a lot of potential and excitement and energy in a very contested area. And I know he's been spending a lot of time with Justin Tipperick, for example, under his wing, and Tip sees a lot of potential, and he's sort of taken on a personal mentoring role for him, which will serve him well. Different sort of players, but the more he can knock the rough edges off, the quicker his progress will be, and that means that we've got a good player that's ready to play week in and week out for the Ospreys, which is really exciting.
Great stuff, Toby, and best of luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Hi Toby, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. With regards to Dan Lydiate, I mean, he's had a tough couple of years with injury. Can you just talk about how hard he's worked to get back to this level, and how much of an influence does he have in terms of driving the squad, because he's known for that sort of relentless physicality, and from a Wales perspective, that's, you know, they're going to need people like guys in South Africa.
Yeah, without doubt. Well, first of all, coming for such a long-term injury, you know, and especially the easy option, especially when you get past 30, I'd imagine, is that, you know, we're going through the grind of a long-term injury again, and a lot of people don't get back to that. But he's been fairly unrelenting in that whole approach. As a number of them, as George, Al, the lot of them, Justin Tipperick, they're all, and that's probably why they are what they are. So you need the mindset first and foremost to do that. And unrelenting is probably the way I described Dan Lydiate. And his approach to wanting to get back, there's never been a question of it not happening, and an ultimate self-belief. And right from his first game back, coming off the bench against Leinster, where he came on and almost like he'd not been away, and he was chopping down people, and that relentless effort. And also when he was out of the team for a little bit and almost recovering and getting himself ready, he drove the non-23 to a level of performance that really prepared the team, and that coincided with us going on a good run of results. So his influence is not just about on the pitch, it's the influence on the group, the influence on how to prepare. And the more competition you have, for every coach will tell you, the more competition you have for places, the stronger you become. And to have him driving the performance of the preparation team is massive. And obviously now he's back and playing parts off the bench and forced his way back into the Welsh team. So he deserves everything he gets.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that one of your most consistent players this season has been Morgan Morris. You were a bit disappointed, a bit shocked that he hasn't had the international recognition he deserves, because obviously he has been consistently very good at URC level.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, he'll just keep going, and they're a humble group, to be fair, and that group of players, so Rhys Davis, Jack Morgan, Will Griffiths, Dowie Lake, that sort of next band of players, of Osprey players, really drive each other on, and as a result, they'll just wait and keep driving forward, and if they get recognised, they will. He got recognised as in our own awards by the supporters twice. He won both awards, which probably is a reflection on how much he's seen from an external point of view, from our supporters' point of view. And yeah, he has influences on game. He got a hat-trick last time, and you want players, whatever level, that influence the game. Jack Morgan, who we talked about, he does that. Morgan Morris does that. Will Griff does that. Rhys Davis does that. So the future's looking good, and it's part of our plan about growing our own. So that's exciting for us.
Great. Thanks, Toby, and good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Toby. Can I just ask one question? Do you think it'll benefit Alan Wynne to maybe take a back seat from the captaincy in South Africa? So he's obviously a leader anyway, but maybe not to have that responsibility and focus on himself.
No, not really. I think it actually is. Al sets his own standards in leadership, irrespective of having an armband or not. He just leads by example. He will still talk on what needs to be talked on, so I don't think that influences it too much. If it gives him the mental capacity to focus on his own game, then that's probably, I understand that, but it won't change him. It won't change what he does. It won't change how he acts, and he'll do what Alan Wynne-Jones does for sure.
Well, from someone who works with him day in, day out, sees him every day, do you see a player who has the ability to make the next World Cup, obviously, which is, 15 months, 18 months away?
I don't see why not. And probably, it's all very well a coach will say that about his player, but he was the last player off the training pitch today, doing extra tackles, extra passing, extra preparation to get his game as good as he can get it. And after a long time out and probably a lot of scrutiny, and I understand that, and Al understands that comes with the territory, all he can do is be deliberate on what he prepares. And as I said, he's a model around that, and he sets the tone for a lot of the youngsters that we just talked about. And as a result, I have no doubt he'll get back to the levels that he demands in himself, for sure.
Great, thank you.